everyone, and we are back this week with Ken Dog.
Hey, what's up?
We finally got together on Zoom to record this episode. We thought this episode would be really fitting this month just because it is Suicide Prevention Month. We were also thinking about just like making some awareness around this subject. The weather is changing lately. We kind of feel like that's kind of the direction in which everything is going to go right now. Kennedy, what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say like summer's winding down, fall's coming. I'm always looking forward to the fall, but not so much the winter. Brings a lot of things.
It does. It totally brings a lot of things. And we just want to put like a bit of a trigger warning out there first for anyone who's tuning into this episode. We are talking about mental health. We're going to be talking about, suicide prevention. We're also going to be talking a little bit about just our experiences with that. And we wouldn't want anyone to feel at a place or uncomfortable. So just putting that out there now. So you guys, if you feel okay, continue listening. And yeah, you can kind of hear what we have to say this week. So, Kennedy, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you kind of like specialize in.
Yeah, so I'm from New Brunswick originally. I went to UNB for a bachelor in psychology. I'm currently working at Autism Nova Scotia here in the city of Halifax.
We love that. We love that.
We love having you down whenever you're visiting. Um, but yeah, my main work right now is I do a little bit of mental health crisis, some prevention work, and I also do a little bit of recreation, so a little bit of more fun programs, balance it out a little bit. But yeah, I work with teens, I work with adults, children sometimes, but a lot of autistic folks in the community here, and that's kind of what I'm doing and just living the dream.
Living a dream, helping
Yeah,
those who need
I
it
love
most.
it. Exactly.
I was talking about how, working in Emerge, like, and I've said it before, just like working with people and like, if your gallbladder has issues, it's like, so, okay, this is what you do. There's an algorithm. It's pretty, it's pretty standard. You kind of know where things are going to go versus mental health with people. It's such more in depth. It's not straightforward. And I think that's what makes mental health so beautiful in that way and make brains like so unique and powerful. And just like no one has that same lived experience every day as someone else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's definitely very complicated, like all the ways that somebody could be impacted in their life. Like just because something, hurt one person or was good for one person doesn't mean that it's not going to impact the next person a completely different way. So yeah, we look at that a lot at our job and some of those barriers and the accessibility factors and stuff like that, can contribute to some of those issues that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. And I think we've kind of, for a long time, been in a society where people, they have to pull up their work boots, they have to, strap in, they have to pretend to be happy when they're not. People are working themselves to death now for corporations who don't really care about them. And I think that's a big thing now. And like, not being able to fill positions of jobs. It's like, you have someone like us going to school or people who are providing for their families or people who probably should be retired right now but can't because they don't have that income to help balance it out. And you're working so for so little and someone at the top, it's like what makes you a harder worker than the person doing the frontline work. Like, and that's why frontline workers are so pissed off now, and that's why there's such like a gap and a disparity and going on right now. And I think that too has now led, pretending to be happy, our whole system of how we live is kind of like crumbling.
Yeah, well, I guess that's capitalism, right? It's putting the putting the production and monetary value ahead of human life, I guess, and our well-being. It's definitely not always on the front of our mind when we're thinking about our workplace. I'm really lucky to be working at such a great inclusive place that really does kind of consider those things. But I know, like from my past work experiences and from I hear from a lot of friends that, like, you don't get that time to slow down sometimes, and a lot of people just want to put life on pause for a minute. But it's so much about how much we can produce, how fast we can do it, and the deadlines and this rushed culture. So I think, yeah, that can be definitely really, really troubling, especially in the workplace.
Yeah, totally. I get that. People going in, even when they maybe mentally just need a mental health day, they just kind of need to take a break, maybe just from life for a day. We all just want to have a moment. And it's like, that's kind of like, looked down on. And then, people get into a spiral. And then there's lack of services to help people, I find, with mental health. And not even just acute mental health, like just a crisis. It's like we need people and strong structural mental health services to help people through various stages of their life. Why is it you only got to be in a crisis or you know what I mean? Like why there needs to be this long-term care of mental health and people. We're letting people fall through the cracks for literally no reason.
Yeah, I mean, well, everybody has mental health. Not everyone has a mental illness, but I think that we're kind of increasing the numbers now. We're seeing it. It's becoming a lot more common for the average person or a huge majority of the population at younger ages all the time, who are getting diagnosed with these mental illnesses, and who aren't having good mental health. And I think just like making that a priority in our schools and in our workplaces and just like our daily socialization is so important because like, yeah, we're not going to be able to keep up with this constant need for overproduction. And we can't keep up with robots, we can't keep up with technology because we're human beings. So it's pretty unrealistic to have that standard of everybody needs to keep up to the certain pace of life.
Damn straight. You know what?
Yeah.
Frig this. Frig.
Yeah, you know
You
what?
know, throw that shit out. We ain't doing
We're
it.
done.
We are done. Me and Kennedy are drawing the fucking line here today. Yeah, double fingers up to the world.
I mean, it's not all bad, but
Only some of it. And the some that is bad, we want to roll out because
that's right.
if there's ever a time to change, it has been for a long time, but it is truly now. And, even just like say services like healthcare services or things like that now, we have become so reliant on letting things slowly go through the like cracks, and then they're saying wait times emerge and blah blah blah. It's like there's nowhere to go there, and like we're just falling apart like socially, economically, just on all stands. We're not doing too hot.
I mean, the pandemic is definitely not helping our economy. Our economy itself is in a depression, so I don't see how the rest of us can't be, honestly. It's pretty hard. A lot of us are struggling. Like I'm out here struggling for the money. I know everybody else is. I know it's impossible to get a house. It's impossible to like save money and move forward. And it's just it can be so hopeless. Like it can be so just daunting that the debt that we have from school and everything else kind of just piling. And I can see why people feel like they don't have a choice sometimes, or like that they're at a dead end, like they don't really know where else to turn. And like, man, grocery prices and living expenses are just continuously growing while we're not getting paid anymore. So it's just like a whole nother issue, but I think like it's definitely contributing to why people are feeling so shitty right now.
Yeah, 110%. And you done homelessness as your thesis topic for school, hey?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was my thesis in my last year university. So I did I kind of looked at homelessness barriers and accessibility factors, some things that prevented these folks from, getting off the streets, and what are the things that they need, and how are their needs being met, and what are the things that are preventing them from getting to that point, like for example getting a job, getting health care, being able to just do any basic things, transportation to certain places or anything like that. Even, the ability to wash themselves, the ability to have enough food to survive. It seems very basic, but there's so much that I think people don't consider as a barrier to this population. And when we're not really addressing those things, we are creating like addictions, we're creating mental health issues, and we're creating suicide, honestly. And when we do help people who are homeless to get housing or to get those barriers reduced, they're able to actually possibly, get out of those situations. But there is so much, like I could go on about the amount of things that are just kind of in the way of that as a possibility.
Yeah, and I think, the older generations ahead of us, they're so easy to blame it on that people are too sensitive now, that people are offended by everything. But we
Mm.
have created our kids, and we're still, kids, we're still young adults. Like we have cultivated a society that just can't do it, that just can't there's too much happening, and then they're just chalking it up, you're too sensitive, you're this, you're too that, but you didn't have those same issues. You never created, all this like social media and like people having access to people all the time and people being more vulnerable. And of course we're going to be fucked up. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course people are going to be sensitive. Like, we're not helping people at the bottom, and it's costing us so much more money and stress and anxiety by not helping, like you said, not helping people get basic needs met so that they can, stand a little bit more on their own 2 feet. But we just rather see people fail, and little do they know it's costing people more and more money, not even money wise, but also mentally as well.
Yeah, I don't think people realize it would be cheaper to just create affordable housing than it is to keep all of these people in the shelter system, in the hospital system, in the rehab system, and all of these things that are costing our system money. And that's kind of looking at it selfishly, I guess, from our standpoint. Like, it'll cost us less money, but it's also, an ethical responsibility to other human beings that we have. So it's not just, it's one other benefit to us if you really need to look at it that way. But yeah.
Ethically, it would make us a better society. It would
Yeah,
make us more humane again. It'd make us look as
absolutely.
people, not just like below people. Like, raising a society to think like that, like, how are we not doomed to fail if we don't help everyone? We all
Yeah.
came from the same thing, we all cultivated by the same thing, whether you believe in religion or the Big Bang or whatever you believe in, everyone is connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You done homelessness and stuff as your thesis topic, like we were just talking about, and kind of just like helping people out, where they're to, where they're not to, ethically as a society, helping us with that. For mental health and its effects on us personally, you said you have a bit of a journey, and I kind of would like to hear just your experience as well with mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of obviously it's a hard topic to talk about. I've personally gone through many years of depression and anxiety, just like so many people in my life that I know, and definitely that makes me feel less alone in my experience. But I do think it's so important to talk about, and I do think the system that we're living in right now, it's just not sustainable. Like, and I know from my own journey of going through the system and getting mental health care and getting therapy and seeing a psychiatrist and getting all of those things and being able to, actually have support was such a hard, difficult process. And it's filled with things that are major barriers and so much stigma. Like, the amount of people that I've heard say such wrong things, and there's so much, I guess, misinformation out there, and such an idea about things that is just so incorrect, and it's disheartening. I did struggle with suicide and self-harm and things like that for a long time, and I'm very, very grateful to say today that, like, I'm not in that place anymore. Obviously, like, it's always in the back of your mind of something that you've dealt with in a thought pattern that has been created. But I've been lucky enough to have such a supportive network of people and friends and family, my partner, and obviously professionals, the doctors and therapists along the way that have really, like, I owe it to all those people for being there for me, because I think, like, really at the end of the day, like, what gets somebody through those situations is the people in their life, because you do feel just so alone. And I think that's such a big topic of it, is that isolation that you feel when you're really, really sick like that is just something that you can't really explain to other people unless they've been going through that too. So I just want to say to all the people out there that are struggling, like, shout out to the girlies, shout out to
Shout out to the
all
boys.
shout out to all the boys out there and all the girlies that are going through it right now. Life is full of ups and downs. It's Things aren't permanent. So, and there is supports out there. The system sucks, but you got to advocate for yourself, and you got to push sometimes if you want to see things get better. I think that's the best advice I can give, and I do hope that, like, my friends and family who are struggling right now and who have in the past are able to, like, make the decision to get help and to help themselves a little bit, because, like, at the end of the day, you have to be the one to say, like, I'm ready to put in the work, and I'm ready to, like, face that really uncomfortable feeling of facing my trauma and facing my my dark thoughts and like parts of myself that I haven't addressed, or parts of myself that I've kind of pushed down and tried to erase. It is a really, really, really hard process. And I'm not going to say that it's like an easy one at all. And it takes a lot of bravery and courage. So I salute all the people out there that are putting in the work and practicing their self-care and going to therapy and doing all those things. Really proud of some of the people in my life who have recently also started going to therapy. Shout out to you, not going to name names, but really, really, really proud of you guys.
Going to
Yes.
therapy is so crazy.
Yep.
Having someone to talk to that is non-biased, that just sits there, and to just get that internal like weight out, even if it's just one person who will listen. You know what I mean? And just for someone to like, oh God.
I feel like anyone could see a therapist and benefit from it. I don't think you need to be like extremely mentally ill or suicidal or extremely traumatized with PTSD. Like you can have average daily
Stress.
problems and stress and general issues that a lot of people experience without, the need to feel like you don't deserve therapy. Like you do. If you feel like there's any part of you that might benefit from it, like maybe you just have insecurities, maybe you have body issues, maybe social media has taken a toll on you, or the comparison trap, like literally anything, your work is getting you down, or your family stress is overtaking your life. Like there's so many millions of reasons that seem so regular that we can really actually try to like work on and better ourselves, and that will in turn benefit the well-being of everyone around us. Like it does really reflect out. I can see how like when I start to take care of myself, it inspires other people who are close to me to kind of make the same actions and take care of themselves better too. So it's definitely something I am always preaching to everybody in my life.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of like chalk it up and we kind of like put it on ourselves that we always think someone's worse than us or we're not that bad. And we kind of like discredit how we're feeling. And it's like, no, you do deserve it, whether it's big or small, like just to get away. Like that could just be, the same as someone loves getting in the shower, the same someone loves working out. Like maybe you just love to go sit down and talk shit with someone and just let it all out, like maybe
Yeah.
that's your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So within the healthcare system, I think it's so frustrating to see the way that the healthcare system is like, it's not even mental health has never been great within the healthcare system. And I think too, the rest of the hospital now is also feeling the weight of unappreciation, fails in the system and like booking people, wait times in an emergency department, wasting money, I guess, on things or that don't really matter. I don't really know, but it's sad to see mental health patients struggling, and a lot of the times, sometimes you see new people, sometimes you see people that end up coming in all the time and they become regulars, and it's just like, is there really nothing that we can do to get this person out of this acutely sick mental health issue? Do you know what I mean? And then you also get people who, it's hard to get therapy. I remember personally once I was in a crisis, and it was a few years ago, and I went down to the Waterford, and I spoke to someone, and I went down, and it was an okay-ish experience. And I remember I was supposed to get referred to someone, I guess, just to speak to someone. That was probably back when I was like, I don't even know, like 20 maybe. And I've yet to hear a phone call for that.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God.
25 now, you know what I mean? And like, thank God I kind of took life in my own hands and kind of, whatever. And thankful that I'm not where I was too when I was younger mentally, but like just simple as that, like, like here you are going down, and like we were just searching up earlier, like the hotlines and like different, services in Newfoundland, and just reading some of the comments about people saying like, like they don't, unless you're half dead, like they don't care. And like, I wasn't suicidal, but I needed help and they didn't care.
Yeah.
Like damn, like, and I get that everyone's stressed out, and there's so many sick people and so many places to put people and treat people, and it's a whole system failure. It's not just PAU or acute mental health services, it's the whole system that's failing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, shout out to April for being a nurse in that system. Honestly, all of my nurse friends, you guys are saints. I don't know how you do it. You put up with the most bullshit of any job, I think, every single day. So thank you so much. You are heroes. Seriously, you're the heroes of society. One of many professions, but I mean, seriously, the system is so broken, and like I know you guys are out there doing your absolute best with what you have, and the resources are just so limited that like it's impossible for everyone to be able to get the care they need. And it's so unfortunate. Like, we have like, what is it, 100,000 people in Nova Scotia, or no, sorry, is
100,000
it,
people, like no family doctors
or
or
is
things
it,
like that.
how many people are in Nova Scotia?
Quick little Google
Hold
here.
on, let me look.
Let's get accurate numbers so these people.
Let's get you an accurate.
Someone's
Okay,
gonna come and be
so
like, "There's actually 101."
so we're about 971,000 people, and I believe the last time I heard it was about 100,000 people on the family doctor wait list.
God
if
damn.
if that's correct, I might be far off, but definitely a disparity there of need to actual received care. And you see it firsthand, obviously, and there isn't much you can do as the frontline workers. Like, it's a bigger problem than that. It's about where is the funding being allocated and where is the priority being put, right? So
Where is
this,
it and why is it?
where is it?
Where
Where's the money?
where is the money? I want to see a receipt. I want a fucking tax print off. I want to know, because it's just like, why is there no incentive to be family doctors? Why is there no incentive to keep preventional care? They keep talking about primary care, secondary care,
Right.
tertiary care, like a blah, blah, blah. It's like, why are we going up Shit's Creek without a paddle for no reason when we can? What is happening?
It's crazy. Even that, like that Maple app that they just got, I've waited on that thing for days, like literally 8 hours, just clicking, like making sure the screen didn't fall asleep, and literally it will like get to the end of the day and they'll be like, oh, like you're disconnected. Yeah, like too
Thanks
bad.
for the 8 hours of nothing, basically.
Oh my God, it's so frustrating. But
Like,
you
I'm
know
out
what?
here trying.
No wonder people feel hopeless enough to take their own lives, and it's
Yeah.
it's so sad. Like I joke, and like I'm joking around, but honestly it really is so horrible. It's a really bad situation that we're in. Like, we're seeing it so much more, especially the past couple years. Oh my goodness. I can't, like, I know that there are definitely certain groups too, besides just homeless folks that we spoke about, but I see it in my work too. And if you're looking at it intersectionally, so if you're looking at the different identities and the intersection of identities, so if we're talking about ability, we're talking about race and class and religion and all of these things that make up who we are, there are certain, obviously, groups of people who are disproportionately impacted by these mental health issues and by suicide. Definitely, I see it a lot in my work. We see there's a high rate in the disabled community. We're seeing it a lot in the BIPOC community, especially with the Indigenous folks. We saw it a lot up north when we were living up there. We're also seeing it a lot with, LGBTQAI plus folks. Of course, veterans and, surprisingly, men are the most likely to die by suicide. So if you're kind of looking at it like that, you can kind of see that all of those people have something kind of in common. All of those other groups that I mentioned have some sort of barrier in society that's created by society. It's not created by the individual. So it really is a sickness of society. Like, we really can't be blaming these people for feeling like that's the only choice they have left. It's something that we really need to address, because, again, like, going back to that, like, we're all human, like, we have that responsibility to take care of each other.
And we fucking do. We're just homies helping homies.
We are. Like, come on, people.
Come
What
on.
is the
We gotta
issue?
we gotta try a little harder. We gotta give a little harder, like,
We gotta
what is
love a
the
little
issue?
extra.
That's what we're gonna aim for in these coming dreary, cold months, is love a little extra, give a little extra, and love yourself a little more.
Yeah, reach out to your friends, like, check in on people, check in on yourself, ask yourself how you're doing, do something good for yourself. Like, it's so cliche, but I honestly forget to do it, especially for us care folks, people that are in the care field. You tend to put yourself last. So everybody out there taking care of other people, whether you're a parent or a nurse or whatever else you do, take care of yourself. You cannot give to other people unless you are taking care of you, girl, and the men out there.
And those men, you get it. And
Take a
those who
bubble
don't,
bath.
take have some tubby time.
Yeah, have a tea,
Have a
you
tea,
know?
get a hot bath, and guys, we all know that those cold months are coming, okay? So we know what happens. It's going to get dark here in Newfoundland, probably like 4 o'clock. It's going to feel like the evenings drag on forever. You wake up, it's dark, you go to bed dark. Like, make sure you're taking your vitamin C pills. Like, do get a happy lamp. Just do
Yeah.
whatever it is that's going to make you feel good. And, life's already hard enough. Let's try not to make it any harder. Let's actively put into role ourselves into doing things that we know that are going to bring us those little like glimmers of hope and just like a little bit of joy every day.
Yeah, we should all be just more real with each other and look out for each other. Like we gotta look out for our people.
Look out for the homies.
Yeah. April, I was curious also. I have a question for you as the
Oh shit.
host. I just want to know, like, coming from New Brunswick, I'm not really sure. Like, I know what the situation looks like over there, but like dating Brandon and having so many friends from Newfoundland, I am really curious about like kind of like the state of the mental health situation over there, and for just from your perspective and in comparison to the rest of the country. Just I know it's so kind of it can be so rural over there. It can be such a different lifestyle. And I know it's just so different.
Think that definitely the mental health services here aren't that great. And, whether it's from the funding, follow up, I think it just all comes back to a failure in the system and an emphasis kind of on just like the wrong things. And I believe we need to, like we were talking about throughout the episode, about helping people so that they can help themselves and then people helping themselves in return. Like, I think it's definitely like a balance, and we're not investing in our people. We're not investing in people wanting to take, like full-time jobs and have few sick days and few vacation and, not getting time off. And then why would you sign up for such a negative thing? Why do you want to go to work to make nothing? Like, why do you, and that's just a small portion of it. And then of course, it's awesome they're building a new mental health facility here, and it's going to be attached to the health
Mm.
sciences because Waterford is a very old building, and they do need a new building. However, there's less beds now in that new building. So not only have people, been pushed to the side and not feel like they need the care that they get, and it is about keeping at a hospital. People go to down there, and people want to get admitted, but you don't want to be admitted for mental health reasons, unless you're very, very, very sick, and you need someone to control you. You're a harm to yourself and others at this point, but that doesn't mean that those people don't deserve follow-up care for weeks or months after that, once they feel like they are in that situation, and like making sure they're safe and making sure they're followed up and making sure, it's a phone call or a message. I think that's what we need to do, is that people want to feel loved and appreciated and understood and heard, and we're failing with that.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I feel like you just know what's going on so well because you're so embedded within it. And you just see that all the time.
I do see it all the time. We're fucking people up,
Yeah.
and I want to help people, and I want to feel like we make a difference. And it's so hard because you work alongside people, and like some of the physicians now are in the emergency rooms, and they're trying so hard to see so many people. I know one doctor, some people see like, I don't know, so many people, like say 10, 15, 20 patients. And then there's some of the doctors out rural are trying to see like 40 some odd patients in a short period of time. And then they, no matter how hard they try to like go keep seeing people, it's just like it's not encouragement. It's sad. And it's like they feel like it's a failing task before they even
Yeah. It's
sign up
just,
to do it. That's not what you got into medicine for. You want to help people. I think that's what people forget about. Like, we're all burnt out. It's like, I got in healthcare and I stay in healthcare and I endure, the hate and the love and the sadness and the anger. I take it all on because we want to be there. We want to help people, but it's so hard when you have such limited sources and such a, a higher up system that serves those at the top. It serves whoever is in control of all the money. It serves. And then I hear, you hear rumors of, if people don't spend as much money on their staff or on the floor, things like that, do they get bonuses when they don't go over budget? Do they, there's like, is that true?
wow.
Like, just like, and it's like you hear that and it's fucked up.
It's so disheartening. It really is.
It is disheartening.
Yeah, but I really am hopeful. Like there's an optimistic part of me, I guess, about the amount of things that we can do. There are things that can be done. I think it's just about like changing the mind of the people so that we, can actually voice that things need to be different. Because I think Like a lot of people can just say that doesn't directly impact me, so like I don't really have to.
Yes, like voting and getting people in power that are actual good people, and changing the rules so that like self-serving people aren't in these roles. You're in a public service role. You are there to help the public. You're not there to help yourself. So therefore, why is there any shady business going on? I think if you're going into that role, you need to be like, I hate when people say there's no honest politicians. Like, that's insane to me. Like, let's not get rid of these people. Get rid of people who are there for themselves. Have it straight up that everyone can see what you're fucking doing. And if you start to be dishonest, if you start, turning into one of those people, adios amigo, get out of here, because that's the kind of government I want to be a part of. And that's the kind of government I want to see in charge. And that's why voting is so important. Most recently, I'm like, no, like, this is serious shit. Like, I don't know.
I think all of us young people are just like in this state of learned helplessness, and we just think like we're not going to make a difference, or like our one little thing won't make any sort of impact, or you speaking out that one time won't do anything.
That's what they want us to think. That's what they
Exactly.
want us to think. They want us to think that it doesn't matter.
It
Fuck
so
that.
does. It so does. Like everybody's little tiny, some sort of action does make a larger impact.
That's why these people hate it. They hate when, people being activists. They hate people speaking out. They hate people shining light on their bullshit. You know what? Frig them. And then, you hear, yeah, like, oh, I thought it wasn't I thought it wasn't an issue. Now all of a sudden you're getting hot and heavy. You seem like you're sweating over here. What are you sweating about? Because I know the truth.
That's right. Little politician in the making over here.
I am a little politician in the making.
April's for prime minister.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I swear I'll be better. That'll be my slogan.
That's your whole campaign. I swear it. I'll be better.
I'll do better. So guys, thanks for listening this week. I'm glad we kind of just talked base on it. I hope everyone just starts up the conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's a dark, gloomy fucking subject, but that doesn't matter because we are out here trying to hustle. We want you to hustle. We want people to keep their chin above water, and then we want to excel past that, because that is just the bare minimum, and we want people to just love themselves. That's the goal.
Get through that hopefulness.
Let's go.
Yes. We got it.
So we have some hotlines that you guys can use. You guys can introduce that one if you want.
We have mobile mental health, which we use a lot at work. So it's a 24/7 line. And the number is 1-888-429-8167. And we also do recommend Kids Help Phone. That's 1-800-668-6868. And you can find all of that obviously on Google too.
Yeah, you guys can use a little Google. We got Talk Canada or Talk Suicide Canada. That's available 24/7. You guys can also send some texts. You can go on and find that on there as well. We got the National Institute of Mental Health crisis line. You can text hello to 741-741. You can also do the Veterans Crisis Line. Very important. They help service members and veterans in crisis as well as their family members. 1-800-273-8255. Kennedy, thank you so much for coming on this week. I hope you keep striving, and I love you very much. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week on another episode. Peace and blessings.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.